Hey, good morning or afternoon, depending on your time zone. Everyone, welcome to a webinar that I am particularly excited about. Today, we are partnering up with our friends over at EagleView and one of our amazing clients, AccuLynx customers, Kaiser Roofing out of the Southeast Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, who are going to be talking today about some of the cool successes that they found and some of the amazing growth that they've seen using some of the tools that AccuLynx and EagleView both have to offer, of course, in conjunction with the amazing operation that they run down there themselves. My name is Matt Morrison. I'm on the training and presenting team here at AccuLynx, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am joined today with Brady from EagleView, as well as Dan and Scott from Kaiser Roofing. Say hi or wave or whatever you guys are into there.
Hey guys, Brady Campbell here, Director of Business Development for EagleView.
Scott Kaiser, co-founder, Kaiser Siding Roofing. Happy to be here.
Dan Billings, Chief Operations Officer for Kaiser Siding Roofing.
Right on. And of course, not featured on this slide, but certainly no less important, is my partner in crime and colleague, Michelle Middleman, who's on our marketing team, who heads up and organizes these webinars. We, of course, have a bunch of people on the call today. Thank you so much again for joining us. But there's, we've put everyone's microphone on mute so that we can kind of get through this. But I am sure you will have some questions, some conversation things, something you want to add to the conversation, or questions about EagleView or Kaiser, maybe some of the things they've done, or AccuLynx as well. So if you do have anything like that, please use the chat box there on the side of your screen. You should have a GoToWebinar control panel on your screen. I think it's at the side for most people, maybe at the top if you're on the browser-based system. But nonetheless, use that to reach out to us. And at the end of the call, we'll have a Q&A where you can throw questions our way to any one of us or all of us, and we'll be happy to help you guys out. So at this point, I'd like to kind of turn the presentation over to Brady and the Kaiser team. You guys can kind of talk about what you guys have got going on. Tell us your story. I'm eager to hear it. And then we'll jump into some other things later on. So take it away, gentlemen.
Thanks, Matt. Much appreciated. And Dan, Scott, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we'll do a little intro here after we just get through EagleView and the AccuLynx piece. But thank you guys. Really appreciate your time in this. I know it's a busy time for you guys.
Anytime.
Thank you. So as you guys all know, EagleView is an aerial fixed wing imagery company. We have over 130 aircraft that survey all of the United States and Canada. I think we're just crashing over 1 billion images within our database. So it's a lot of metadata behind all these images that helps us derive what everyone really knows about, and that's our roof reports, right? So we're able to capture all these reports and data from the sky so that you guys can do more on the ground. And not only are we doing the roofing part, but we're also doing siding, and as you can see in this high def imagery that we capture from aircraft, we're also doing solar. So there's a lot of different parts that EagleView brings, but namely it's just we're an aerial imagery company. And then Matt, you want to do a quick little intro with AccuLynx?
Yeah, so I know some of you guys on the call today are working with AccuLynx right now, but if you have never worked with us or heard of us or whatever, AccuLynx is, well, we'd like to think the leading all-in-one business management system designed to help roofing contractors grow, right? Now, if that sounds like it was written by a marketing person, it is, but let's just put it this way. We're a CRM and then some, right? So we help you not only enter in your leads and manage your contacts and messages and photos and all that kind of good stuff, but we also have tools to help you write estimates and build orders and schedule jobs and integrate with QuickBooks and collect payments and offer your customers financing and a whole lot more things that I just don't have time or the breath to say today. We've been around since the late 2000s when we really realized that there really wasn't a solution that was geared to people like you. There were a lot of options out there for the big mega engineering firms that go out and build hotels and shopping malls and airports and things like that, but there was nothing for the person that was, by comparison, relatively smaller, working in their local community and areas to do construction work like shingling, siding, gutters, some light interior work, that type of a thing. And so we really were developed back in the mid to late 2000s to help contractors like you run and manage their businesses. And look, I've been with us now, this is my 9th year, and I'm happy to say that at this point there are thousands of contractors across the country that use AccuLynx every day to run and manage their business. I've worked with many of them myself, and of course the rest of our team have worked with others as well. So we've been at this point there's people from coast to coast and even north of the border that use AccuLynx every day. And of course, some of the things that we're proud about are our award-winning software. The software, the tools that we give contractors to use. But what I'm personally proud of is also our ability to have amazing people that work with AccuLynx as well. So many of the awards that we've gotten have been around a great place to work and the culture and whatever. And we really are made up of a team of people that sincerely just want to see contractors succeed and grow in their business. We know if we can help you succeed, then we're going to do it as well. So that's a little bit about us. Brady, take it away.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. So one of the things that we wanted to really address today is namely just like the research behind what components build a process, right? And what are the things that are involved with that process that helps you guys drive, obviously profit, right? That's namely the game we're doing our day-to-day tasks. But what I'd really like to do is just like, how are we able to eliminate some of these time killers and costs, right? So when I look at these components of a typical process, you're going to have your prospecting, your advertising, and your sales, and that essentially forms into how to measure the bid, the contract, all the way to scheduling and planning, and of course doing the work, right? Actually doing the install, and then lastly, is just how can you build a business to expect the typical revenue and profits, and basically what does that framework look like on a typical life cycle, right? And I think that's really what we want to just dive into, and how both EagleView and AccuLynx can bring you that processes. And I think the best case for us is to really highlight what Kaiser Roofing has done the past decade in their business over on the East Coast and such. But what I want to kind of do is just, obviously introduce, you have Dan, right, and Scott from Kaiser Roofing. And Scott, how did it all start with you guys with Kaiser Roofing? Like, how did you guys get started? What did that story look like?
Sure. So, back in 2002, I was a sales representative for a local roofing company out of Columbus, Ohio, and worked there for, 3 years. And then we ended up starting our own company in 2006. So that was really the start of my company. And with EagleView and with how we used to do things, it's just night and day. I mean, time is money for us, right? So what we used to do or what I used to do back in the 2006, 2007 until EagleView was born, was we would knock doors, we would do inspections, and we would have to physically stand on top of a roof and diagram it out. And when we're up on a roof and we're diagramming it out, obviously, it's not the safest thing to do. And so when you're up there, you're doing that. And sometimes it's kind of a rough sketch of a roof. So what we ended up doing, or what I ended up doing at that time, was I would have to, after my day, sit back into the office, pull out the graph paper, redo every single thing that I did out there in the field, and make it nice and neat for the insurance adjuster when we would have those adjuster meetings, which took a lot of time. And so even though it was very well delivered to the insurance adjuster, most of the time they would just take our measurements and run with it because it was very nicely laid out. With EagleView, what we've been able to do is just, concentrate on our roof inspections and get back down, order the roof report, and then we would be able to generate either a scope of loss delivered to the insurance company right there on the spot, or we would just meet with the insurance company and do that after it was approved. I mean, there's so many different ways to use EagleView to save time. And I've been doing that since 2007, 2008. So almost 12, 13 years we've been EagleView customers. I would say every single report that we order is an EagleView. As far as AccuLynx goes, we have been a customer since 2011 and wouldn't look back. I mean, we literally have built out our AccuLynx so efficiently to where when we order an EagleView report, we can put it into an estimate or a work order and then be able to send it directly to our suppliers. And that is the power. That's the power of the technology that we use to make our job efficient and save a bunch of time. And our profitabilities also have skyrocketed simply because of the efficiencies that we put in place. I can also turn this over to Dan. Dan, if you'd like to speak a little bit of that as well. I mean, I don't know if I'm missing anything there, but it definitely has saved us a lot of time, and also safety too. Has been huge.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I'll just touch on a few things. I've been fortunate that I was actually around since the inception of EagleView and since the inception of the integration between EagleView and AccuLynx, and I've seen the industry change significantly because of these two technology companies. In piggybacking what Scott was saying about our efficiencies, with the way that how clear and precise and vetted the EagleView reports are, how they integrate with AccuLynx, the uploading of the XMLs, the PDFs, with the way that we have our templates set up in AccuLynx. We've got templates set up that just automatically will populate. We pick the colors, we send that, with the new integration of SRS or suppliers like ABC, you can literally just go in and click a button, walk through a couple processes, send your labor order or your material order over to the supplier. With the addition of the crew app, we can literally now just go in and click assign it to the crew. It shows up, and it's cut back time from our production standpoint as far as ordering material, getting everything that the supplier needs, from our scheduling labor. The efficiencies are just huge.
And I appreciate that. Oh, so go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for those of you on the call, if you don't have a CRM in place or utilizing the integration within the CRM, such as AccuLynx and EagleView, it's worth the time to sit down and build it out, because that is when you're truly going to be able to, if you want to scale right to a whole nother level, that's truly when you're going to be able to put all those dots. It'll connect the dots, right? Which at the end of the day will elevate your company, and it'll free up a lot of time to be, okay, well, now I can take that hat off and I can focus on how can I build out my infrastructure and my business, versus having to take multiple trips out to a project, or what was that measurement, right? Or I forgot to get that measurement. It's most likely on that EagleView. So I just wanted to add that as well.
No, I appreciate that, Scott. And I wanted to ask this a little bit, one more question. When on the old way of doing this, before you guys were using EagleView and AccuLynx, how long would it typically take to create an estimate, do the hand measurement, the drawing? I mean, what did that impact do to you guys just on the time alone?
That's funny. I was talking with Dan earlier about this, and we were talking about the old ways of how we used to do this. And Dan, I believe you mentioned that you were out at jobs sometimes. If it was a really cut up roof, you were up on the ridge for about 2 hours diagramming it out, running measurements. Then you'd sit probably in your truck and do the calculations. And it was a 2 to 3 hour exercise. Maybe even more at times, right? But Dan, if you want to speak to that, feel free.
With the help of EagleView, just like Scott said, the old way is, before the technology, you have to get up on the roof with a pencil, paper, rulers, tape measures, and you'd literally get up there and diagram it, and you had to be precise, because that affected not only how you were creating your bid, but it affected the material that you ordered, the labor that you did. And it was a game changer when EagleView came on and proved what they could do as far as, and with their accuracy and their speed. I can remember when we first started ordering EagleViews, you were lucky if you could get an order in 3 to 4 days, and then depending upon what was going on with weather, it could lead out a week to 2 weeks. Well, now it's literally, you order an EagleView right now, and you'll get that, if it's a quick squares, in 10 to 15 minutes. If it's a premium report, you can get it in as soon as 3 hours. So it's been a game changer as far as time, as to being able to turn stuff around and being more productive, from the sales side, and also much more productive and efficient and precise for ordering and scheduling.
That's I think that just led me to this next slide, right? Is the productivity. So if we're talking about saving, a couple hours per project, it's a give or take. Some of those cut up nasties are brutal, and some of them might be a little bit quicker. But if we're talking about just a few hours and 800 projects, right? That's 1,600 hours, right? That's a lot of time. And let's be honest, money, right? At the end of the day, and on your opportunity costs and what that can enable to save more time, more bids. But Scott, like, what does 1,600 hours mean to your business? Like, what do you do with that 1,600 hours that you save now?
Infrastructure build out. It's allowed me to focus on the business and not work in the business. I mean, and I don't even know if 1,600 hours is that's just that might even be low, to be honest with you. Sure. We've been able, I would say I've been able to really dive into the delegation aspect of stuff to where I can lean on people because I've had time to take care of that type of stuff. It's been great. I mean, we've got, obviously, we have Dan Billings on now, and we've got a vice president of sales on. We've got my brother, who's another co-founder. We have territory sales managers. We've got production coordinators. We've got sales representatives. It's just a complete ladder so that go through the company where we've been able to really scale. So I've been working on the business, not in the business, and I attribute that to Dan himself, and as well as Billy Robinson, our vice president of sales. They've done a phenomenal job at helping me take this thing to the next level. So it's freed me up. It's freed me up. And when you look at the cost of an EagleView and the cost of software, with how efficient it makes our company, it's a small price to pay for freedom, and it's a small price to pay for just the efficiencies in the processes that we have in place.
That's it. What I'm hearing right now, Scott, is you were a manager, now you're able to become a leader in business.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, it's 100% been able to. I mean, it all starts with the people. I mean, the software is great. EagleView technology is great. The AccuLynx is great, but at the end of the day, it's helped maintain, and also it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's been able to handle the scale, right? We don't really miss a beat because of the technology. The technology isn't too small. It's ready for that scale. We can depend on it. We know it's going to work. We know we can depend on it. We trust it. And, we let you guys do what you're great at. We let AccuLynx do what they're great at. And we do what we're great at, right? Is running a business. So it's really it's brought everything together for us to be able to just work on things versus working in them and feeling like you're pulling your hair out every single day, or you're up on a ridge and you're wondering if you're going to fall off a roof. I mean, it's eliminated a lot of that.
That's truly helpful. And and as we kind of move on to this next concept, right, it's the planning and scheduling. I want to go back to the old way, right? So when you started the business, what processes were based on this pen and paper? Like you said, you mentioned you're up on the roof, then you're in the truck. When you started, what were those processes based on? How did you guys build that before you guys were using EagleView and AccuLynx?
So, gosh, I gotta really think. I've been using EagleView and AccuLynx for so long, but to answer that question is, I mean, we would do the old-fashioned stuff, right? We would door knock, we'd get up on a roof. Because we're dominantly a storm restoration contractor, right? We're not a big retail organization. So we do some retail, right? We do some retail, but storming has been really what has driven me to the roofing business. So, a lot of door knocking, a lot of, doing a lot of inspections, getting up on the roof, finding the damage and getting back down, talking with a homeowner, walking them through the whole insurance claim process, signing a contingency, And then, obviously from there, you meet with the insurance company. And once you know that the roof is approved, or even before you meet with the insurance adjuster, that's when we would be up on the roof and we would be, graphing it out, because we wanted to be at that time in my career, we wanted to be ready for that insurance company. We wanted to be ready for them. We wanted to look the part. We wanted to come organized to that meeting, because at the end of the day, that's the most important meeting through the whole entire process, right? So to get that roof approved, to hand that over on a silver platter was very nice. And most adjusters appreciated that. So we would literally just, get it approved. And from there, it was pen and paper ordering, using fax machines, right? I mean, we're talking 15, 16 years ago. So
yeah, spreadsheets, I'm sure, all that.
Polaroid cameras, digital cameras. We didn't have iPhones, obviously. I mean, it was obviously the technology and life in general has evolved a lot since then.
And I just, the way I hear you say it's like you were only talking about one project, right? Like, what about when it's like multiple projects, right? And they're in different cities. Did you guys use a CRM before you guys used AccuLynx?
It's funny. I actually had my own CRM I had built out, and I still have it today. It's just sitting up there in the cloud somewhere. But we spent 2 years using this because we knew that there was something there, and then obviously we tabled that because I knew the owner of AccuLynx, and we have competed against them in the past, but not in the software world, but in the roofing world. And so he actually came into our office and showed me what he had, and I was blown away. I was like, why would I continue to develop this out when I could just do this, right? So we ended up making that transition to AccuLynx, which was great because I was done creating my own, and it made a lot more sense. And I could, again, focus on the business and not in the business, right? So my time was better spent partnering with AccuLynx at the time, 2011. But even before that, it was manila folders, putting everything in files, having them all alphabetical order in a filing cabinet, writing on the manila folders. Every time you talk to a customer, you'd write into a folder, on the folder, date and make a note. So if you needed to pull the manila folder out, you would look at it, you'd kind of refresh your memory of it. Oh yeah, talk to them about their garage door. I need to make sure that I protect it, right? I gotta, the deck in the back, right? I gotta make sure we put tarps on that. I gotta remind the crew. And so I had a process down where I would always look at the manila folder before I would start the project, and just make sure that I had everything correct, and even call the customer just to go over it again. With AccuLynx, it's more of that one-stop shop. You can look at the message board. You can put all your notes into the order as crew instructions, so the crew gets the instructions. And then the message board, of course, is great too, to communicate with our production department to make sure they don't miss a beat. So it's been great. I mean, that's the evolution of where this industry's gone, and that's why I don't know what I would do without a CRM and EagleView. So it's, with AccuLynx and EagleView, it's been great.
And the way, you tell the story, I was just thinking about the manila folders, and then, you have to read through the entire thing to remember those little things, like you said, the garage door, or maybe there was a crack in the driveway. And it's the human touch points, right? You have to be very, very matter of fact when reading to catch back up. So when we talk about AccuLynx, what has that done just overall for you guys? I know you kind of just touched on it, but how does that reporting go into your guys' workload today? But how does that help you plan for next week? What does that mean to you guys?
Well, I mean, I would say it's consolidated our business, right? Now, going into next week, Dan, go ahead, take it, man, because that's all you.
Well, I can tell you by using AccuLynx, as far as if anybody's ever worked production, they can know how much of a headache that can be keeping track of everything. The old magnet boards, dry erase boards. With the way that the production scheduler is set up in AccuLynx, it's absolutely amazing. It's been game changing because you can go in with sending your material labor orders. You get automatic confirmations back saying that the material's available. You can schedule it without having to make phone calls. Same way with your crews. With the crew app, you can just literally send them the labor order, and it all just links right into the production scheduler on AccuLynx. So you always have current, real-time, accurate information as to when you're scheduling, the ease of it, because everybody knows that when you're building roofs, there's going to be rain days. No matter how much you look at the weather, it always changes. The ease of just going in, if you have a rain day, of just moving stuff from one day to the other is fantastic. You can take it even farther with the automated email systems. Like we have it set up so every process or every gate or milestone that we do within AccuLynx, we have the automated messaging board set up so it'll send an email to the homeowner, it'll send an email to the rep, it'll send an email to our supplement department, and all the different people. We have different emails set up, keeping them informed, eliminating time of making phone calls for scheduling or following up. Or, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's
Not to mention the
makes us
crew app
so
as
much
well.
more productive. Yep, and
The
the
crew app too. Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
the technology and the ease of using all this stuff and how it integrates with everything has really, it's been a game changer for us. You know, like Scott said, you know, it's literally a one-stop here. You start to finish, cradle to grave for each job, and then when you start multiplying that out by 5, 6, 7, 800 jobs a year, with with the ease of using AccuLynx, it makes our lives easier, reps' jobs easier, everybody's jobs easier.
That's really helpful, Dan. And I actually had a question, and I know we're probably going to get into this, or at least Matt will show this. But how does like the EagleView report data flow through the projects in AccuLynx? Can you guys touch a little bit on that, just the ease of it, or what that looks like?
The ease of AccuLynx, you literally go in, make sure your address is right, order the EagleView right through AccuLynx. It comes back in, uploads with so you can go through and create your estimates. You know that those measurements are correct, you know, because we've used them so long, we've vetted them, and they're pretty much spot on, and that helps us from the standpoint. It takes out the guesswork of how many bundles of shingles, how many pieces of drip edge, you know, how many bundles of starter strip or ridge cap, and you know, we've got our template set up so it automatically calculates, you know, boxes of nails or boxes of plastic caps or rolls of underlayment, and that's all done through the integration of EagleView and how it's set up in AccuLynx. That it's with the templates that we have set up, the order templates, they're spot on. We don't have to guess. We know what our hard costs are going to be because of the EagleView measurements are right on. We know what our hard cost for material is going to be. We know what our hard cost for labor is going to be. We have it right there, and then we can track it all also.
It's very intuitive of what we've done within the software, right? I mean, I think we're using every feature that you guys have, Matt. And I would say the time spent building that out and putting those pieces to the puzzle in place has allowed for even more free time. So you put time in the beginning, which equals, you know, 20x more free time after you put in that ground level time, and it's worth it. So thanks, Dan, for helping me see that light.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, I wanted just to double click on that whole material piece. So, you know, when you're ordering EagleViews, you know, through AccuLynx, and it's populating everything there for you guys, and you know, I think there's a mixed bag of what that experience is like with that third party, that adjuster. But I mean, just that aside, how does the solution really pinpoint the need for the materials on it when if you're over or under ordering, or if you're bidding, you're too low? What does that mean for you guys in your typical day to day?
So this, and Dan, if you want to speak to this, this has been a phenomenal, Dan, speak to the material and how we order it, because I think it's just, I think it'll resonate a lot with everybody, with how we order our bundles or our drip edge and everything, starter strip and all that good stuff.
Okay, thank you. I will. If you jump into the template section and create your templates, everybody orders their materials a certain way, and no matter how much time you spend training your sales rep or whoever does this, you can give them all the cheat sheets in the world to follow all the steps. You can give them the paint by numbers picture, but unless they actually take the time and put the time in to do it, the poor production department is left doing nothing but recalculating everything and refiguring everything. So with the use of the way the templates are set up and how you can round bundles up or calculate your waste factors, and it just automatically figures that, it makes our ordering so much more accurate. And at the end of the day, if you have a 60 square roof and you order, if it's a 10% waste, you order 66 squares of shingles. I don't know how you guys are, but I know that my crews will install every single bundle that they find that's on the job site, whereas we can control, what the actual material is through our experience and through our templates and how we do things. We can control that material that's delivered, so that technically saves us money, not only on material, but also on our labor charges, because the accuracy of the EagleViews, we use that because we've used them so much. That's how we pay our crews. That's how we order our material. We know exactly before we tear the first shingle off of that roof what our hard cost is, which helps, the bottom line. And then with skyrocketing prices of materials this year, it's even more important that we're that much more accurate. And with the use of both of these technologies with EagleView and AccuLynx, that's really helped us become more profitable, on every single job for the last, I don't know how many years. So
I can't tell you how many times Dan calls me up throughout the month and say, yeah, well, I think we only went dumpster diving maybe 5 times this month, because if they're short on material, then we have our crew or our project coordinators or even the sales guy out there go into the dumpster and look for whether it's improper cut shingles or open bundles, right? And then we pull it out. So we know what we're ordering, we know we're correct, and we don't let the crews run us, we run the crews.
That's a powerful statement. And and I think about this when we're talking, conservatively, just saying 10% of the jobs you're short on, right? And we're just looking at the math. It takes a couple hours to fix the problem, right? Redeliver that stuff. And you see like 160 hours or $2,000 per se. But the way I see it from what you guys are saying is that it's the time, right? It's the time that should be spent on other things and not fixing old problems, right? Not doing the dumpster diving, which I totally understand that piece. But how did you guys, talking about waste here, but how did you guys, before EagleView, how were you guys estimating waste on projects?
It's the old school of calculator and pencil. You literally would sit down after you hand diagrammed the roof and, measured the eaves and the rakes and the trapezoids and the rhombuses and the triangles and all of that, and seeing how things slide in and things pull out. And you had to be very, very precise and know exactly what you were measuring, and then being able to convert those measurements through formulas, basic geometry formulas into trying to figure out what you're going to need for material. And now, the premium EagleView reports has everything right there. It tells you your ridge, your hip lengths. It tells you, your eaves, your rakes. It'll give you the squares per facet. If you have a flat roof in there, if you have this or that pulls out, it's all right there. So it literally takes it took the hour and a half to 2 hours of just diagramming it. Then it takes another half hour, 45 minutes of having to try to calculate it out if you were good at math. And then you would have to handwrite your orders and, fax them over. Now, man, it's literally just, you click the template, it auto loads, you select the color, it figures it all out, and you send it over.
Dan, you sounded like my geometry teacher right there, naming all those different polygons. It brought back, bad memories of being in high school. And I think,
right.
Yeah, and you know what I think it is too. It's the confidence level, right? It's that barrier of the confidence of the sales rep, making sure he's dead on with, not underperforming and estimating a job, right? Which just it deters a good sell. So I totally agree with you guys with that. Do you guys actually use the suggested waste factor with EagleView, or are you guys kind of going off of your best practices that you've experienced?
A lot of that has to do with the actual roof itself. I mean, you've got all different types of roofs, and based upon the complexity of the roof that's there, I mean, if you do it long enough, you can look at an EagleView in 3 seconds, say, okay, yeah, that's a 12%, that's a 17, that's a 23, that's a 25% waste factor. The great thing that I have found about the suggested waste factors on EagleView is that, we as roofers, we know what it's going to take to physically do that roof. An adjuster's going to come out because they're programmed to say, hey, you want to know what, this is a gable roof, so we're going to allow 5% waste factor on the gable because we're going to include starter strip and not ridge cap. Or if you get, or we're going to come out a typical hip roof, they allow 15%. But when you start getting into the more complex roofs and you've got the proven calculations because of the length that EagleView's been doing it, I can literally look at that and say, yeah, I agree. That's a 25% waste factor. That's a 32% waste factor. And then I will send that EagleView over to the insurance company and argue and say, listen, this is what it's going to take. And I said, and if you want, I said, I can send you invoices at the end of the job showing the material that we use. And you want to know what? With that addition, probably within the last 2 years, I think you've been doing the auto calculations. That's really changed it for us to be more efficient and proficient, so we don't have to, because the last thing we want to do when we're on a job is hold our crew up, because we've got more jobs and more jobs scheduled for them, and time is money. And if we have to delay a job, because it has to carry it over to the next day, that just puts us that much farther behind because we were short on material.
Right.
So, it's been amazing.
That's some powerful stuff, Dan. I appreciate that. And for those who don't know what the suggested waste calculation is, comes on all of our premium reports today. We're able to give a good baseline metric for waste calculation for estimating. It's right there on that end page of the summary page. But that's some good stuff. And I think this really comes to just a really important piece, right? Of at least for the last couple of years, and we're talking about that retooling for remote. The pandemic has done some weird things to the market, but I also think it's done some great things to the market. So it helps people really understand the value of technology. But what did the pandemic do to your guys' business? And what did that mean for you guys when the pandemic hit and needed to retool some things?
Well, from an approach standpoint, obviously, customers were nervous. We sold a lot of jobs through Windows. We brought the office to their driveway. We had portable tables in the back of our trucks where we would have sanitizer, portable tables, bring the samples outside, and wear masks and do all that. So we were very sensitive to our customers' You know, as far as that goes. With the with what the pandemic did to our business is everybody was home, right? So it actually you know spiked a lot. We had a storm, and we were able to capitalize on that as well with everybody home. So with how we set up our system and our processes and how we hire and how we train and that whole, like I said earlier in the webinar here, that the full circle, the connecting of the dots of our processes, we were able to really capitalize off of these storms. You know, so it's been the pandemic. I mean, awful for the country, good for probably a lot of roofers in the country. So we didn't really have to change too much because we were already doing a lot of this stuff. We were doing the EagleViews. We already had our processes set up in AccuLynx. So we were ready to go.
Scott, if I can piggyback on one little thing on there.
Yes.
The other thing that through AccuLynx that helped us do was the use of the DocuSign tool in AccuLynx, because for as many jobs as we did on a fold-up table in the driveway, we also did through the DocuSign process in AccuLynx, where we literally would just click the buttons, send it over to them. They would sign it virtually and send it right back to us. I can't tell you how many jobs, whether it be, you know, our contingency forms or our contracts or our certificates of completion, you know, all of our processes that we would normally do in person, we could do through DocuSign, that so we didn't have to have that face-to-face. You know, we would set up appointments where, okay, yeah, we would drop the samples off. The homeowners would come out, grab the samples, decide what they're going to do, talk to our sales rep over the phone, and they would do everything digitally.
Yeah, we definitely used those functions a lot more during the pandemic.
So, I mean, it sounds like you guys started to adopt a more remote approach, you know, for that homeowner perspective. What did that do for you guys' business when you guys had created and adopted the new process to be remote? Did you experience some improvements in the business, you know, and maybe it's internally or maybe with sales or anything like that?
You know, we did a lot of hiring, right? So but we were going to do that anyway without the pandemic. Dan, I mean, do you have an answer for that, or what would you say?
You know, I guess I don't really have a full answer for that. You know, did the technology help us grow? Well, it definitely didn't hurt us, because, you know, with our business plan and how we did things, with the addition of all the sales representatives that we created or that we hired in all of our markets, it definitely helped us, you know, secure more business, because we were able to be sensitive to, you know, to the situation with the pandemic going on. So I don't know if that answers what you're looking for, but, you know, it did help us with, you know, with our processes of signing jobs.
Yep, no, I think that's it right there. I mean, you basically, you know, adopted this digital stack, right? That made you ready for anything like this, and you guys were already kind of prepped for it, so it kind of allowed you guys to keep working, and I think, you know, ultimately improved the whole business piece of this. But you know, some of the things that you guys kind of shared with us, you know, was just your guys' growth from one to the other, and I think it's just how did AccuLynx and EagleView help you scale and really, like, what does scale mean to you guys? What does that mean for you guys as a business, and just, I think at the same time, personally?
If I can start off with, I think,
yeah,
I think that through what it allowed us to do is it allowed our sales managers and our vice presidents of sales to focus more on the selling of the process, and not focus so much on the nitty gritty calculations and diagrams and breaking stuff down and how to order, because we were able to, with AccuLynx and EagleView, we were able to streamline all of those processes. So our sales team could focus more on, hey, what's the best way to help this customer? How do you work with an adjuster? How do you, what do you learn more about the process of building a roof? And so you can explain it and educate the homeowner. So it helps us from the standpoint of training not only our existing salespeople, but all of the new people. We could focus more on the selling aspect of it and less on the nitty gritty geometry and why this roof requires this amount of ice and water shield or this amount of underlayment.
Yeah, and I would say during our training, to piggyback on that, Dan, is we can train AccuLynx and we can train EagleView very, very easy. It's such a small piece of what because it's so efficient, right? So we don't have to focus so much time. We depend on it. We trust it. We know it works. So when we actually have to train, with it, like, oh, okay, day 2 of training, we're going to go through how to enter a lead and then go to a prospect and dive into our CRM, and then also the EagleView part. It's not so time consuming, and that's why we're able to, like as Dan said, train our salespeople to be rock stars. That's where we can actually grow our business and scale it. It's people. So getting these people in place, training them, finding the people that want to go out and work is, obviously it's difficult to find that, right? It's not, we don't have the answers to all that. I mean, if we did, we'd be, in all 50 states, but it's allowed us to focus on that aspect for sure.
So, I think, there's a lot of listeners on today, but they're all at their own unique stage in this like tech journey, right? So what would you recommend to these listeners to go about transforming their business with technology?
What I did throughout my career is I watched the people who were really good at what they did, and most owners of those roofing companies, if they're not in the same market as you, they were great to talk to, right? And we're able to bounce ideas off and find that like kind quality, the same mentality type of person that you're talking with, to help guide you through this next step of technology. That for me worked a lot, right? Taking little things out of the conversations and implementing them. I would 100% take the time to learn the AccuLynx and the EagleViews, like that type of technology, because once you figure that out, it's going to allow you to go to the next level. It's sometimes painful, right? Because you have to do it, but it's recommended. I mean, I was doing very little revenue at one point in time, and now I'm doing revenues that I would never think that were possible. So it's been great for us. It's been great for the company.
Thank you, Scott. That's a great answer. And the way I take from that is, investing into these technologies is your first step, but then you need to get into the details to allow it to work for you, right? At the end of the day, and that's something that when we're talking about this whole workflow from the start to the end is investing into these tech stacks that gives you the time, gives you the resources to start focusing on the business. And kind of what you're saying, Scott, with the whole piece of the scale, right? It allows you to be a leader in the business, so you can project on where you want to go. So
it's allowed me to even think bigger now that these solutions are in place. Like I can think to a whole, like we have planned out, year from today, we're already planning out for 2023, 2024. Like where are we going? We can do that now. So it's been great. It's been great from a planning aspect, and just putting those, infrastructure pieces in place. to truly scale. So that's what it means for me as far as scale, right?
Yep.
Being able to look forward all the time and not look behind, I guess.
Yep.
So
that's super helpful. Scott and Dan, I can't thank you enough. Really appreciate you guys sharing just not only what you guys kind of go through, but just your thoughts on what it means to the rest of this industry, on how it is to be successful, and even during painful years, and how to take advantage of it, right? And it's to show that you're able to scale a business, but also provide new jobs, right? And great product and services to your home